Well, hello. It's wands, wizards, and wondrous magic items. It's that time again today as we discuss our top 10 magic items of the plays.
Wands, wizards, and wondrous magic items. I like it. Some good alliteration there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a poet.
Sure.
I'm deep.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah, man.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the Flycast. I'm John. That's Steve. I almost said I'm Steve. That's not true.
We've
John,
done that
Steve,
before.
You know, whatever.
We've had people do that before, though. It's kind of funny. I'm like, I don't look nothing like him.
We are. Hey, there's a Brent in the chat. This guy still exists. What?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, man.
Where's he
got
been?
a girlfriend. Got a girlfriend.
Okay. I guess that'll do it.
Yeah, man. He's got
anyway,
a life.
we're if you're new to us or anything, there's a couple of nerds who like playing D&D. A lot of DM experience between the two of us. Got a small little community. People were asking questions when we said, "Hey, you know what? You know what would be a fun way to talk about this stuff is to make a podcast." So that's what we've been doing for the past 6 months or so. Because we started in December, I think. So I mean, it's really been about a half a year of this. So that's pretty crazy. So that's what we do.
Solid.
If you're new here, go ahead and join the Discord, whether you're watching here live with us on Twitch or later on YouTube or following on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. There should be a link somewhere. Join the Twitch channel. That way you can find out about what's going on in the future, figure out what or hear about our next topic whenever we come up with it for the next week. And, of course, as always, leave questions. The first half of our show, we normally talk about a topic. Second half, we normally take questions from our Discord there, or anyone live in Twitch if you got anything you want to talk about as well. That's what that's there for. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump on in. Most weeks we normally have a topic we talk about, but every 5 episodes we do a little bit of a ranking video. First time we did ranking our favorite classes. We did ranking our favorite moments. We'll probably continue to do more of these videos every 5 episodes, though last episode we totally screwed up. Last episode was episode 20, so that should have been a ranking video, but we were so excited that we came up with an idea for the next episode like ahead of schedule that we just forgot about it and dove right on in. So this is episode 21, but it will be our ranking video, so our ranking episode. So that's where we are there. We decided this week to go ahead and rank some magic items. So what we did is we opened up our Dungeon Master Guide. We're using only Dungeon Master's Guide, not Tasha's or anything else that has created magic items, or even our own ideas, but only the Dungeon Master Guide, and we decided to pick our top 10. Now, if you ask us the same question, our top 10 favorite magic items from the Dungeon Master Guide in a month and a half, these answers might be different, but as of right now, these are what we are saying are our top 10 favorite. It's really difficult because there's so many.
I know.
It can be really hard, and I feel pretty confident with what I've chosen. I feel like they are currently my top 10 at least, but then ranking them in order is like almost impossible. So, but yeah, this should be fun. I know for me, like I definitely use a lot of the items that are already made in the Dungeon Master Guide or other books, but I also like to homebrew a lot also. So it was really fun getting to just kind of crack open that DMG and see, okay, what's in the game? What is there that's already in the game that I have wasted my time homebrewing? That sort of thing. So this was a lot of fun for me anyway.
Yeah, there was a lot of items that I was like, I could use that.
Yeah, and there's some really off-the-wall stuff in there, too, and it's like, you know what, that's kind of nice. I like that there's so many different, I don't have any staves on my list, but I love all of the staves.
I do.
So that'll be fun, just to kind of get in there. But without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and go back and forth on these. Start with 10, go all the way up to 1. And I normally let Steve talk first, so let's let Steve talk first. Go ahead, Steve, with your number 10, I suppose.
I picked winged boots.
Oh my goodness, I think that was my number 11. That almost made my list. I didn't quite.
I picked it because I haven't had him as a player. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I've done it at like a long time ago before we even became friends. But
Right.
one of the things I like about Winged Boots is like, and I think this goes back to the first campaign I watched online, which was the Curse of Strahd, the all theater of the mind,
Mm-hmm.
and her paladin. I guess they kind of did what that they get like one magic item or something like that in their story, and she was human, but she was short, so she was very short, and I think she tied it into her background story that these winged boots helped her move quicker, and then you found out later, much later in the story, that she's actually missing a leg. So the magic boots actually
That was
helped
cool.
her
That's cool.
move around quite a bit. So I thought I'd be something I could toy around with sometime. I think I've always been kind of hesitant to give people flying things, and I don't know why, because it
Well,
shouldn't really
flying
matter.
flying can present a huge issue, right? Because you get your sorcerer who just starts flying around, and you can never hit them, and it can get obnoxious. So I understand why people are hesitant to hand out flying objects.
But now I'm at the point where I don't care. I can hit
Yeah,
you
yeah,
from anywhere I want to. So now I'm going
yeah.
to actually start maybe incorporating them
Mhm.
after looking at it, because I'm like, you know what? These are fucking cool.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So that's my 10. I know that was pretty easy, quick answer, but
No, I like that.
winged
I think
boots. Winged
I
boots.
think so. So, like I said, that's why DMs are hesitant to get out flying stuff. But I mean, I think we're both in the same boat. If an item is really that much of a hurdle for you, then get creative and get over it. It's
Right.
really a flying PC. You mean you don't have archers in your game? Like, come on, like you can figure it out.
Right.
Just stop doing just melee creatures then. So yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. That's just why. I agree though. Those are of the like. There's like 3 or 4 like flying magic items or whatever, and those are my favorite. Like I think about like the magic carpet or the carpet of flying or whatever. That's really cool, but it's super huge and bulky. You've got
Made
the
my life quite
yeah,
a
I
few
mean it's really
times.
cool. It's really cool, but then you've also got the broom of flying. But then like it's as a player, honestly, that thing could be more deadly than than not. Like you can get knocked
Right.
off that thing so easily that can turn real bad. So like having boots that let you fly is actually really really cool. So yeah, I like those a lot. Those almost made my list.
The broom almost made my list only because I think I gave it to Grady once. It was fun to see him use it,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
it was never anything that was OP when I gave it to him either. It was
yeah.
just fun for him to just zip around as a character.
Right, right. Yeah. My number 10 then is Bracers of Defense.
Ooh,
Uh,
monkey.
I I really like these. So they while wearing them, you get a +2 bonus to AC if you're wearing no armor and using no shield. So I mean, not only obviously this is the one that a monk asks, "What magic item can I get?" This is the one that instantly comes
It's
to
the
mind.
one.
But
Well, even
it's
a
not
barbarian too.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not just a monk. A barbarian could totally benefit from it. A wizard, a sorcerer, they both totally could. Even like a rogue could potentially do that if they didn't want to wear leather armor or even a druid or warlock. Like they can get light armor, but this is almost as good, if not as good. In that way, you don't have to wear armor if you don't want to. So, like, it can work for a lot of different classes, and there are so few ways for someone to bump their AC in this game that a magic item that bumps it by 2 is actually really, really nice. Like,
Really
uh,
strong.
bring your wizard from a 13 AC up to a 15. Like that's a big deal. Bring your monk from like a 17 up to a 19. Like they might be tankier than your paladin, like depending on
Yep.
how everything is built. So I really like them. They're one of the few that I have on my list strictly for mechanical reasons. But I think it's a really fun way to get a little boost to your AC without like just trying to buy magical armor or +1 armor, which let's be real, it serves a purpose but is boring. I just like these so much better. That's my number 10.
All right. I picked an item that, like, for me, I give out regularly because I don't want to deal with inventory management for players. I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to. I just don't have the time or the patience. John likes to hoard this item for some odd reason from us, but I picked bag of holding because it helps me as a DM to not be like, well, I don't know if I have enough room. I don't know how much my weight limit is. I don't fucking care. Here, take this. Problem solved.
See, I care because I like low level and I like that stuff.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I don't care. I don't want to deal with it. There's other things that I worry about than your holding capacity, or if you want to hoard a bunch of items. First of all, gold isn't a problem with me in my games. It's normally where you can spend it and what you spend it on. That's how I manage it. So, like, you want to hoard 12 long swords? Here you go. We'll give you maybe 20 gold a piece for them. Who knows? But I'm just like, here's your bag of holding, Grog.
Yeah, that's fair. I understand it. In a lot of ways, I like the bag of holding. In a lot of ways, I hate the bag of holding too, though.
Yeah.
Like, I really do like that. So as a DM, I do not want to manage my party's inventory. Like, I definitely don't want to do that at all. But I also think that a, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 party, it's reasonable that they cannot carry the entire world with them.
Right.
So, I kind of like that. And then I do kind of like the struggle that comes with, what can we take, what can't we take? We just saw a whole bunch of dragon bones. Can we take all of them? No, probably not. Maybe you can take a little bit. I understand the pros and cons of it. But especially at lower level, it annoys me. So that's why I just hold off and don't let people get it for a while. Plus, that thing should be incredibly expensive. It really should. It should be like thousands of gold. Yeah. So I don't want to. you get
when I have it in a major city, I start at $2,000.
You get a certain party and you give that to them at level 1, and they turn around and say, "Where can I sell this?" That I also always want to avoid.
No, I don't normally do that. Yeah, I normally wait till about at least level 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've had one of my groups find it and I did it kind of funny because I did it in like my first campaign where I had them find that ungodly druid staff. Well, so I used that same encounter, but instead this time I actually have them find the bag in the nest.
Nice.
So I thought that was cool because I gave it a story purpose, like an adventurer had it. He got killed by this owlbear. And now this owlbear is just like making it a part of its nest. It doesn't know any better.
Right, yeah.
Of course, it was empty. It was empty at the time.
Right.
But, they're getting a $2,000 magic item at what, level 2, level 3? Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. And if you don't want to deal with inventory at all, especially at lower levels even, just give it to them and be done with it. I totally get that. I get that way with some stuff, and I'll get that way eventually in almost every campaign. When it starts to become more of a burden than anything, definitely time to break that thing out,
Right. I wished for one.
Yeah, that was fun.
With a lot of money, and then you're like, "Oh, fuck you!" Here, turn it upside down. I'm like, I don't care. I got a bag. I don't give a crap.
Have you ever used a bag of devouring?
No, I did feel like that's such a dick move.
That'd
because
so
like
some
of the
players,
like some of the players have some really either homebrewed magic items or expensive items or like 2 or 3 potions. Well, we got a bag, and then your bag eats it. God, man, you imagine the hate emails you're gonna get, or the hate texts you're gonna get. Oh my god, I haven't wanted to deal with the stress.
Yeah, I've never used it myself, but I feel like that could be fun.
Maybe in a one-shot or something, where it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like a Funhouse Dungeon one-shot or something.
Yeah.
Bag. My number 9, Animated Shield.
Oh, I like that one.
This is another really fun one, a really fun, really flavorful way to raise your AC. I think
like that one.
I'm pretty sure anyone can use it.
Anybody.
Because you literally just throw it up in the air. So while holding the shield, you can speak a command word as a bonus action and cause it to animate. The shield leaps in the air and protects you. So it gives you Is it a +2? Yeah, it gives you a +2 to AC, just like a normal shield would, but you don't have to hold it. So you can be a dual wield fighter, or or like a two-handed weapon fighter, or like an archer, or whatever, and still be, having the shield that gives you a +2 to your AC. And the flavor of it is so cool too, right? Like, you throw the shield up in the air and it just hovers around you and just like moves around and blocks stuff for you, like block an arrow over there, block an attack over here. It's so cool.
I was thinking about that for like a wizard or something, or even like maybe like a blade singer or something, because like with a blade singer it makes sense. Well, because they don't normally have that. Like, I can't use a shield, but like, say they carry it on their back, and then with a bonus action, just it's hovering there and it fits the character.
Yeah, that's the cool thing too, is that any class can use this, and I think most of my list, most of them, not all of them, but most of my list, any class can get a lot of use out of it. I don't know. Again, it's really hard to find good ways to raise your AC. This is a really fun way. And again, it stacks with everything else, right? You can have an animated shield and braces of defense and like the other stuff, right? A ring of protection, cloak of protection. Like, you get all that stuff. You end up with like a +6, +7 to your AC, whatever it is. That's really cool that can all kind of stack and whatnot, and not be absurd. So I think that's a lot of fun. That's my number 9.
Nope, I think you cut out.
I might have hiccuped for a second, but
yeah,
that's my number 9 though.
All right, now with 8, I kind of lumped these all together because these are more like in my opinion, like necessary items as adventurers go up, because some creatures and need magical items to hurt them. So I lumped like +1, 2, or 3 weapons or armor all in the same category. Because to me, I'm like, it's necessary. It's not as fun as giving some certain items, but I also know as a player and as a DM, you need them at some point. So occasionally you might be able to find them in a city where you can buy them, or like I normally like +1 or +2s you can find in major metropolises in my worlds. But +3s, normally you have to find those in a dungeon. So that's where we go that's where we get the flavorful stuff. That's when you go on a quest, you heard a rumor, you go searching a dungeon, those kinds of things where you can't just buy XYZ in a city. You got to actually go and look for that. That's a legendary item, where master craftsmen can, sometimes sell their masterwork weapons or have them enchanted by wizards to go up 1 or 2. But if you want the real stuff, the +3, stuff, that's the legendary stuff that's been lost to time, that you've heard a rumor, that you purchased a map. That's where I try to make that more interesting versus just be like, no, you can't just buy that.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I like that. I think, at a certain point in the game, you just have to have magic items, right? Like, you
have to.
It depends on what type of game you're running, I guess. If you're only ever fighting humanoids, then I guess it's not a big deal. But if in a standard game, take a werewolf is a CR3 creature. It's a fairly low CR. A were-rat's even lower. It's like a 1 or 2. And they are immune to weapons that aren't magic or aren't silvered. So you take your party who doesn't have magic weapons yet, and literally only the wizard can do any damage. Like, that blows. Unless it's meant to be a frustrating fight, or a fight that really enhances only the magic users or something like that, which can certainly have its place. A fight like that just really sucks if you don't have magic weapons. And then you start to look at, there's so many undead creatures and like demons and whatnot who are resistant to non-magical weapons, and like, that gets really rough too, and you can barely do any damage, and it gets frustrating. So yeah, you have to. I think you can certainly have some fights where that resistance exists and is meant to irritate the players, but at a certain point, like, they're going to want to find and use this magic item to then overcome that thing that the monsters now have. That's kind of part of the game. It makes sense. I don't have those on my list anywhere because they're boring, but that's the same reason that you have them on your list, is because they're necessary, right?
They're necessary. Yeah.
that's the thing,
It's
which
not.
which
It's
makes
not.
sense,
It doesn't always make me ooh and ah, but as a
right?
player, I'm like, yeah, nice, awesome.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like as a DM, it doesn't make me ooh or ah. But I'm like, man, this is necessary. So that's why it made my list, and I lumped it all in one. It wasn't a
yeah.
specific weapon. I have
Right.
those.
Well, yeah,
I
yeah.
do have specifics,
I actually
but
don't have a lot of
this is
weapons
a
on my
lump.
list.
Oh, I
Because
do.
honestly, I like to homebrew weapons so much more. That's most of why I think.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean you can give out the +1, +2, +3s or whatever. I prefer to give out a weapon that is magical, but rather than being a +1, it does like some weird off the wall thing, like your moon touched swords
Right.
or whatever that glowed and were magical but weren't plus anything.
No, I
You
really
know.
like. I really like those. Speaking of or homebrewed weapons, my planning session the other night, I did make one.
Yeah.
I did, and I had it specifically for one of the characters in my game.
Right on.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You have to find out
actually,
on
no, this is a Tuesday game. I worked on that
Tuesday.
first.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. All right. That was Steve's number 8. My number 8. This is fun. This is a very simple item, very low level item, but I really like it. It's the drift globe.
You know what? That almost made my list because I'm
Really?
like, yeah, because it's useful
Yeah,
because
it's
like
so
I
cool.
play humans so much,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly.
man, if I'm a level 1 and I get to pick something like as an adventure, I mean, why would you not want a flashlight?
Yeah, it's so the drift globe is like a small like glass orb that just kind of hovers around you and shines light. That's all it does. But like you
That's
don't have
it.
to hold a torch. Like it doesn't cost any hands. It hovers around you. It just floats there. And your sorcerer or wizard doesn't have to waste one of their cantrips taking the light spell. Right? You can just have this globe instead, and then you can always dim the globe if you need to and whatnot. It's so simple, but like it probably shouldn't cost you very much to buy one or find one early on. And those early levels of being a human going through dark caves can,
Oh
or
yeah, it sucks.
we pick on humans, but there's a decent amount of races that don't get dark vision. Dragonborn don't. Furball doesn't. Goliath, I don't think does. So
Or
there's
Goliath
there's a
doesn't either.
there's a decent amount. So it can be really nice to just have this little spotlight following you.
Yeah, man.
I,
There
I
ain't
really
nothing
like
wrong with
it.
having a good magic mag light,
I really like it. Yeah, and it's flavorful too, right? It's like this.
Uh-huh.
It's like this orb of light that follows you. It's cool. That's it.
Yeah, it literally almost. But I'm like, I have other items that I wanted to cover, so.
Yeah.
This is something I did. I actually made this with Tracy last night because I made it specifically for her character. I did have to take off like one of the requirements. This is something John's made me is prayer beads. I
Oh
love
yeah,
these
yeah.
things. The prayer beads I made though didn't like I made sure that they required actions though, versus like just because I've seen how powerful they can be.
Yeah.
And one of the spells that she rolled on stream was very powerful. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we're
So
gonna have
prayer
to make
beads is
sure
like a
that's an
necklace
action.
of beads that hold spells
Mhm.
that you can cast as bonus actions, basically.
And they
Yeah.
recharge once a day.
Yeah.
So like if you're a caster, or in this case, like she has this healbot warlock, but as we all know, warlocks have limited spell
Mm-hmm.
slots.
Yeah.
So I thought when she finds this, it'll be nice because it'll help add to the character of her celestial warlock. So I
Yeah.
thought that was a good thing to add some more versatility because this group does not have a cleric, it does not have a bard. They all went very squishy except for one character player, and I made him play something tanky just to fill out the space.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I like the prayer beads a lot. They didn't quite make my list, but they were one of the ones that I was thinking about. They it's nice that you get them back like they regenerate daily, so
They
you don't have to
regen,
worry about
yeah.
using them. And then like one of the spells that you can get is planar ally, like that normally
He got
costs
that
that
one.
normally takes like 10 minutes to cast. You can cast it as a bonus action instead and get like a Deva to come wreak havoc for you. That's
Yeah,
pretty
man.
absurd. And then like the rest of the spells are cool too. There's a lot of supporty spells and whatnot, but it just kind of boosts what you have. Like as a caster, you're always protective of spell slots, but if you've got this thing that you don't really have to worry about because it doesn't take away your spell slot, yeah, let those things fly. They're a lot of fun to play with. My number 7 is another low level one. I've got, hang on, let me take a look here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 uncommon items.
I shot for the stars.
Yeah,
I shot for the stars.
This is again some of the differences between me and Steve. Steve,
Yeah.
epic level. John, low level. So my number 7 was the Wand of Secrets.
I mean, that's a good one, though.
This is a fun one. So the
that.
wand has 3 charges. While holding it, you can use an action to expend a charge. If a secret door or trap is within 30 feet of you, the wand pulses and points to the one nearest to you. I don't know why I haven't given these out more. I don't know why really more people don't know that they exist. But, like, if you like having traps in dungeons and secret doors and, like, you don't necessarily want your players to find all of the traps, but you want them to find most of the secret doors because you worked on it and put a thing there, so you want them to find it. And you want them to find some of the traps too, right? You don't want to kill them all and whatnot. You want to spring some of them to be like, yeah, but like you want them to find some of them too. Like this is such a great item for that. You can literally just like expend its charge and it's like a homing beacon. It's like, yes, there's a thing. Especially like I like it more for the secret doors and whatnot, right? Like, just kind of the flavor of a party not really knowing what to do, feeling like there might be something nearby. They've gone through the whole dungeon and couldn't find the thing they're looking for, and they use this wand and then just kind of points to the wall in front of them, and then like an outline of a door appears and whatnot. I don't know. I just think it's really cool. I think there's a lot of flavor there. I think it can be a lot of fun. And again, really cheap. It's not that big of a deal, right? Like, it's not going to be game-breaking at all. You can drop this anywhere, and the party will have fun with it, too. That's another thing that I love. Like, I love giving out items. I love giving out loot to the party and stuff that they can have fun with, but I don't want to ever like over give, if that makes sense, right? Like I don't want to give them something that then I have to be like, oh shit, now I gotta like rebalance the entire game because they're way too powerful. I do that sometimes, but only when I know that I'm doing it. So like little stuff like this is so much fun because it's an extra thing I can give out that's not going to be overly powerful, but they're going to have fun with. That's my number 7. 6.
All right, my first weapon on my list, my first named weapon, because not only is it just super cool, but there's a lot of lore for my favorite module, and that's the Sun Sword. So I mean, is the
I knew the lightsaber was going to be on your list.
It's going to be on here. Oh yeah, I mean, how could it not? I mean, it's and the cool thing about the Sun Sword is you can homebrew it in different ways. If you got like say you're running the Curse of Strahd, you have a barbarian, you could make it into a Sun Greatsword. Mm-hmm. You have a rogue or a bard who's very flavorful and dexterous. You can make it into like a Count Dooku style, rapier blade, and it's not only and it's just such a clutch item, especially depending on like certain arcs. Mm-hmm. Like if you're running into demons, undead, and it's sentient too, by the way. So like and it's a good aligned sword. It's not like I'm sure we could do an arc where we corrupt it or something, make it bleed, make it go to the dark side. Right. But there's a lot of cool things about it. It takes a bonus action, and then once you ignite it, I mean, you've got a blade of light. I mean, it is literally a lightsaber, and I'm a huge Star Wars mark. How would I not like this?
I love the lore there too. That like the blade was broken, but the holy energy in the sword like creates a blade or whatever.
Creates a blade. Cool. It creates a blade because it was Sergei's originally, at least in the story. Yeah. So it really is cool. So if you get like this paladin who somehow gets lucky to find the the Sun Sword and also Sergei's armor, you've got literally, Strahd's worst enemy and his brother walking the earth again, a paladin of whatever, in this +2 armor and Seer Gaze lightsaber. So it's just cool.
Yeah, I like what you said about like being able to change it up too. That's something that I do like about a lot of the different weapon and armor options in the Dungeon Master Guide. Is that like there's the Sun Sword, which by default is a long sword, but it's absurdly easy to just reskin it as a great sword or rapier. There's the Flame Tongue, which I think is default a short sword. I can't really remember, but you can easily make it a dagger or make it a long sword or great sword or whatever. So like I think there's a lot of really cool ways that you can, easily reskin some of the stuff to fit whatever play you want to give it to.
I really like Flame Tongue. That was number 11 for me.
That was I almost put that on my list, but I didn't. That didn't quite fall into the list that I then narrowed down. So I like it a lot, but it just wasn't quite up there for me.
Right.
My what are we 6? Yeah. Does that sound right? Yeah, 6. My number 6 is the Cloak of Displacement.
Ooh, I don't know what that is actually.
This is a really fun one because I imagine this as the picture of it in the Dungeon Master Guide kind of like reinforces this, but I imagine it as having been created from the hide of a displacer beast. What it does, while you wear the cloak, it projects an illusion that makes you appear to be standing in a place near your actual location, and then mechanically speaking, it causes any creature to have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. If you take damage, then the property ceases to function until the start of your next turn. It's incapacitated while or it's suppressed while you're incapacitated, restrained, or otherwise unable to move. But basically, it works exactly the way the Displacer Beast does, to where you kind of like appear to be standing, like if I'm right here, it's like I'm standing right over here instead, and therefore makes people kind of have a hard time hitting you. So disadvantage on all attacks against you is a lot of fun, and then just the flavor of, in my mind, in my world, this item will always be made from the hide of a Displacer Beast, which does the same thing. It forces people to have disadvantage against it because it imposes itself as if it were standing in a different place. Right. And I just love the lore of that. I think it's so cool that there's a few other items in the DMG like this, but there's an item that's so intrinsically tied in with a monster that it just works so well. And I really do like the whole idea of harvesting from a creature and then making items based on what this creature could do. And there's one built into the game right there that just works so well for that.
All right, we want to do number 5?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I didn't know if we were taking a break.
Oh, you know what? Actually, we should probably take a quick break. You're right. Because we're about halfway through. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Halfway. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and then we will be back with our 5 through 1. If we have time, we'll go ahead and get to those questions. We don't have a ton, so we'll see if we can get to those. But we will be back in about 3. Peace out.
I dream of magic items that I can use with today. Magic items are so fun. I'm thinking of them right now. Aren't you? In a way.
Always. Welcome back, everyone. Or again, I always say that. I always say welcome back to the audience who hasn't gone anywhere.
Right.
We are the ones who went somewhere. And in fact, if you are not watching this live, but watching this on YouTube or listening to it through one of the podcast channels, then we didn't go anywhere. This has only been like a half a second delay.
Right.
You know what? Brent apparently did go somewhere, so I feel better now. Welcome back, Brent. Welcome back to us as well. We are back, though. We are running down our top 10 favorite magic items. So, without just kind of going on forever, I don't need to do that, because you listened to our first half, we're going to spout out our second half. So we're just going to go ahead and keep on going with number 5. We went through 10 through 6 already for both me and Steve. Steve, what is your number 5 favorite magic item as of May 26th, 2021?
Are you a rogue and are about ready to get caught by a guard?
Grady
But
is.
you just so happen to explore this tomb of an unknown person, and all of a sudden you go poof! The Cape of Mont Blanc
Oh my
or
goodness,
Mont Blanc
that was like my
is
number
your
11
friend.
or 12. I love that one so much. I couldn't. It just
Yes.
didn't quite make it.
Are you a? It's great for welcome back, Steve and Steve. Thank you, buddy. Made me snort.
Good.
I like it. I love giving that weapon to or weapon that cape to a non-magic user because especially like rogues or like it
Yeah.
just doesn't feel like I like to give it to like somebody who's wearing plate. I like to give it to somebody who's sneaky or give it to like a bard or something to give
I
them a
love
free
to give it to
spell
the
and
bard or the sorcerer or something.
like just GTFO, you know, and just like
Yeah.
I'm gone, I'm out.
The rogue's
500
a good one
feet
to give it to, though. Yeah.
because like they're gone and like it leaves like this like this obscuring smoke. It's not
It's
like
like
anything like
brimstone or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, like you're just like
Like a
and you're
magician.
gone. Yeah, you're just and you're like, oh, you caught me. No, you didn't. Boom, I'm
Yeah.
gone. So
It's
that's why I like it.
it's really nice as a player to hold that in your back pocket. And because it's not a spell, it can't be counterspelled because it's
Nope,
an item.
it's an
So
item.
you hold this unless there's some very powerful force that stops you from using it. You kind of hold a get out of jail free card. If you want to, you can get out of any situation you get yourself into. Almost any, anyway. So it's
Right.
really nice. Yeah, you instantly teleport 500 feet away. I mean, at that point, unless you're staring down like an archdevil or something, you should be good. Yeah, I love that one. It just didn't quite make my list, but that one is so good. Almost every character I have, unless it's like a frontline fighter, wants that item. So that's that's how much I
Right.
like it. My number 5. This is one that I've never taken or never given anyone. I'm shocked that it's only uncommon. I thought it was higher than that, or maybe it's just the one that I pulled up is uncommon, and you can get higher versions of it. But it is the robe of useful items. I
I was looking at that today.
love this magic item. The first time I had seen it was Tyrion Darrington
Mm-hmm.
had this item on Critical Role, and
Varian, yeah.
he would just like randomly pull out doors and stick them on walls and like all sorts of other crazy stuff.
Yeah,
But
man.
it was a lot of fun. Like he was very creative in using it, and I feel like in the hands of a creative player, this is such a great item because it can have so many different things on it. It can now it doesn't have anything overly powerful, right? Like you're not going to
Right.
find a Vorpal sword patch on it, but like it's a robe with patches all over it, and you can pull the patches off, and they become the thing that they were. So one of the patches can be a bag of 100 gold pieces, like not overly powerful, but that can be really nice coming in handy, you know, an iron door, a wooden ladder, a riding horse, a pit. You can pull out a pit, like just throw a hole on the ground.
Yeah, man.
Window,
There's all
like
sorts of stuff.
there's some really really cool stuff, and like well, most of it are mundane items. Like it's really nice being in a if you're in a dungeon and you're running down a narrow corridor away from people, pull out a pit and throw it on the ground, and you're going to escape much easier, or you slap a door on a wall as a means of escape, or like entry into the room from a different way that your enemy wasn't expecting. Like there's so many cool things you can do with it. I think it's a really interesting item for a creative player to have lots of fun with.
Yeah, I like that one. I was looking at that today. But I had something else in mind though.
All right, go for it.
This is an item that actually Adrian gave my wizard Vac, and I really like. It's the Robe of Stars.
Mm.
It normally carries like up to 6 stars on it. It's like this cool, like black shimmery, like cape, robe, and then you can pull a star off, and that's cast the spell Magic Missile at 5th level, and it get back 1d6 charges every day. It's really cool, very
That's
wizardy.
so
It's
fun.
you can like it's and it goes back to that whole like as a caster myself, because I do play a lot of them, I'm always trying to think of conserving my resources.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm in a situation where I could just pull a star and then pew pew something at 5th level,
Mm-hmm.
that's that even at a higher level campaign, that's still decent damage, and you're saving a slot.
Yeah.
So, and plus, it's a renewable resource. So you don't have to feel too bad about. And the reason why I didn't go like wand of magic missiles is because with this item, you could use all the stars, and it's not going to blow up on you.
Right. I think. First of all, it's more powerful. But the wand of magic missiles is great, and wands in general are great. But I think something
Right.
like this is just so much more flavorful too. Right. Like,
Oh yeah.
how cool is that? You can get a wand, which is a wand, and you can style the wand however you want, and that can be fun and that can be cool. Or this robe that you peel stars off and throw them like missiles at people that magically hit them. That's. I mean,
That's dope.
nothing against the wand. This is just cooler. Like, it's that
Yeah,
simple.
it's way cooler. It's way cooler, and it's like there's just so many upsides to it. Now, again, this is an item that you're probably not going to be able to buy in a city.
Yeah,
You
that's
might get
absurdly
lucky.
powerful.
You might get lucky, and you might find like an old man or some like who would sell it to you, or like a quest item. But I mean, let's
Yeah,
be honest, you're probably going to find this in a dungeon or something, or
yeah,
beat a wizard who already like an evil wizard or sorcerer who already has it, and you're
yeah.
taking off his dumbass
Yeah.
corpse.
It'd be a fun way to get it.
Exactly. There's all sorts of ways where you can use that, and because the rest of my items from here on out just get more powerful. So
Shocking.
here we go. Yeah.
All right. Well,
We're starting to creep up there.
I've got three pretty powerful ones, and then my number one is another uncommon one. But
Oh,
but
I
I'm
bet.
but I'm
Yeah.
with you with some power right now. My number four is I clumped all these into one, but instrument of the bards. There's like 4 or 5 different instruments. There's a harp, a
Yeah.
lute,
I love those.
whatever. But and some of them are more powerful than others. But basically, it's a item that only bards can use, and it it just gives them like 10 extra spells that they can
Yeah,
cast
it's
once a
awesome.
day. Like, it's absurd.
It's really cool. Like my bard had one and I loved it because I'm always playing guitar anyway when I'm playing bard.
Yeah,
I'm playing guitar on my paladin. I'm always playing it. I'm always using it as a story piece. So then you just whip it out and all of a sudden you're flying with it. It's
yeah,
super cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Like not only now you can do a concert in the air.
Yeah, it's so cool because it's super flavorful because it's a bard and bards can use a musical instrument for their magical focus and all that stuff. But
Mhm.
like, this is kind of a theme that we've been talking about with some of the ones that are good for casters. I mean, almost all spellcasters are normally pretty conservative with their spells and are always trying to find ways to kind of maximize their output. And this is a great way when you've got like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 on this one that I pulled up. 7 spells that can be cast out of this instrument once a day. And like, they're all pretty legit too. Like, I think the weakest spell here is like protection from evil and good, but that's still a pretty good spell. It's got a cure wounds at 5th level though. Like,
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
dope. That's
absurd.
clutch. That's
And
just
then
clutch though.
Wall of Thorns, levitate, fly, invisibility. Like,
Fly.
there's so much cool stuff that this thing can do, and again, doesn't count against any spell slots. So it's yeah, I love these things. If you are playing in my game and you are playing a bard around 10th level, you will have one of these, almost guaranteed. Because
Oh
I
yeah.
love them
It's
so
dope.
much, and they're so much fun. And
They are
everyone
dope.
has fun with them. So,
Yeah.
number 7.
My next one. This is one that I'll probably never see as a player, and I don't even know if I'll give it as
So that's a little shot at
a
me.
DM. It wasn't meant to be, but because and the reason why I say it because it is that
It's
powerful.
too
Because
powerful.
I'm even hesitant. Like I like giving out powerful items, but I'm super hesitant to give this out. Staff of the Magi.
Mm.
This is a very, very powerful item. The
If I
staff
was
has
gonna put a
50
staff on here, this is
charges.
the one it would have been.
It has 50 charges, and you regain 4d6 plus 2 every dawn. It has spell absorption, so you get advantage on saving throws. You get spells like Fireball at 7th level that it expends. It's got, remember, 50 charges. A Fireball at 7th level is only 7 charges. And you get Knock, you get Lightning Bolt, Pass Wall, Telekinesis. You also get things like Retributive Strike, as you can use an action to break the staff over your knee or against the solid surface, performing a retributive strike. The staff is destroyed and releases its remaining magic in an explosion. It expands to fill a 30-foot radius sphere. You have a 50% chance of instantly traveling. That's why I picked it, because I'm just reading it, because it's just insane. To a random plane of existence, avoiding the explosion. So you got a 50-50 shot. So say like you're this wizard, you have this item, and you're like, "Well, fuck you," and you snap it over your knee, and you got a literal magical nuke, and you still have a chance of surviving it. Now, granted, I don't think I would
stranded
ever
on
break
the plane of fire or something, but
I mean, but I don't think I would ever have it in my ability to ever break such an item. But like, yeah, this is something I put on here because I thought it was really cool, and maybe eventually I'd like to toy around with it. But God, is it strong? Like, this is a high level. You are archmage, arch sorcerer, arch warlock status at this point.
I think the only way I would give out something like this is when I'm prepared to start giving out legendary
this
stuff.
This is a legendary item.
In the Wine Women Adventure Tour, I'm starting to get there. I'm starting to give out some pretty absurd items, but this even is more powerful than that. Or like, I think the perfect time to give this out is to force the party to fight the mage who has this, kind of like you were saying with the stars there. This would be so much fun to use against the party, and then if they kill him, hey, you earned it.
Hey, you earned it, yeah.
So have it.
And that's why I put it on my list, because this is something that I've never given away and something that I've never received. And it wasn't meant, please don't take it as a slight, I know. I'm just... because it is, and I could understand why any dungeon master would be very hesitant, because this item is just stupid powerful. You give this to your wizard, they're basically never expending a slot. So that you could be like, you're preparing all these defensive spells and teleportation spells as a wizard, because all of your offense is in this staff.
Right.
That's just how it is. That's how powerful you've become at this point, where like you can just do that.
And that's the thing too, right? Like in 5e, by the time you get to a higher level, wizards are so much more, like magic users in general, I guess, are so much more powerful than like martial characters, and then you give them something like this, it's just like, oh my gosh, the disparity is absurd.
Right. That's why I put it on there, because it was like it's just such a cool item that like you're definitely questing or going against like the old, like a big bad for this. It's like,
right.
Like, I was even hesitant to put it on there because I'm like, wow, this is so strong, but it's just so cool at the same time. It is a nuclear bomb in a wizard's hands.
My number 7 is the Belt of Dwarven Kind.
Why?
So it's so cool. So here's the deal. Mechanically, it's fun. Your constitution increases by 2 to a maximum of 20. That's good. You have advantage on persuasion checks made against dwarves. Additionally, if you're not a dwarf, you also get advantage on saving throws against poison and resistance to poison damage. You get dark vision, and you can speak, read, and write dwarvish. Pretty nice. Not overly powerful. That constitution increase is really nice, because that means hit points. Plus, dark vision can be really nice for like a human and whatnot. So right. It's pretty good mechanically. The main reason I love it, though, is in addition, while attuned to this belt, you have a 50% chance each day at dawn of growing a full beard if you're capable of growing one, or a visibly thicker beard if you already have one.
That's so funny.
That level of flavor is so much fun to me, and it's one of those things that any party you give this to, I guarantee you give this to your player, and they will remind you that it's dawn and start rolling dice to see what their beard looks like. It happens every time. You know what? That is so much fun. How can you not love it? That's
That's
all I
so
have to say
funny.
about that.
I didn't even think of it from that standpoint because I'm like, why? And now I'm like, okay, that actually makes total sense.
That's the thing. You give that out, and every time it's like, oh, it's a new day. I gotta roll. Like every time that's gonna happen.
Well, every time. Good lord, what an item! How
Uh,
thick's my beard today?
yeah, exactly. Number 8.
Mm, let's see. This actually you've already done, but this was my number 2 because of Dash
Or
Wilder,
number
and
2. Yeah.
I put Instrument of the Bards as well
Nice.
because
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, because this one like for everything we stated earlier, and I kind of figured we'd have at least one in common, and this
I'm
was
kind
the
of
one.
shocked this is the only one.
Yeah, me too. But that's saying we've got different reasons, and these items could change on any given daily basis.
Right,
But
and there's like hundreds of items in the DMG
yeah, so
alone.
like,
So
and these are 10 that I thought was interesting and caught my attention. And like I said, some of these items are for personal, like I've either given them or want to get them, or like, god damn, that's just a cool item.
right.
But still, the goddamn that's a cool item is the staff. But I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, the instruments of the bard, it's for the same reasons you said. I mean, like it's extra spell slots. When I play a bard, I'm always playing guitar everywhere, which is annoying for some of the players because they're like, they want to be stealthy. I don't care. I do it as a paladin now because I'm like even though I've got armor that doesn't give me like disadvantage on stealth rolls now, Dash gives no fucks.
Fair.
He is very strong. He is very hearty. He's a HP monster, and if you're gonna hit him, and you're gonna make sure you better do it well because if you don't kill him, oh man, it's like that's the Lord of the Sith coming right at you. Especially now that I got this big old great sword now, I'm
Yeah.
like I go from
The
being a
Demon Slayer.
defender. Yeah, John took me from being the tank of the party to being a Sherman tank. Literally, he gave me a nuke. And I'm like, you're next. Like, bam. So like I don't care about being stealthy. We got other characters to do that. My job is to roll up in there like a badass and roll back out of there with explosions behind my back. So that's why. But yeah, the bard instrument is definitely for everything that you covered earlier.
Yeah.
So
And it's a really fun one that is powerful, gives you a lot, but isn't like absurdly overpowered,
no,
especially if
it's
it's
not.
given out in the right level range. Like
Right.
it's not
It's
going to
no
change the
staff of the
game too much.
Magi.
Yeah. Yeah. My number 2 is the Horn of Valhalla.
Ooh, I
This is
like that one.
It's a really cool one packed with loads of flavor. Basically, you can blow this horn, and spirits from the plane of Asgard basically appear within 60 feet of you. Dead Viking warriors. They all have the Berserker stat block, I believe, and then depending on which, so there's different tiers of the horn. Depending on which tier it is, determines how many Berserkers show up. But even at a low tier, like, you get a decent amount, and Berserkers aren't weak. Like, they've got like 60 hit points. Like, it's going to turn the tide of battle if you blow this thing. But each horn also has a certain requirement, like basically like to test your mettle of like worthiness as a warrior, and if you don't meet that requirement, then the berserkers will turn against you. So the one that I pulled up is the bronze one, and you have to have proficiency with medium armor in order to control the berserkers. Otherwise they turn against you, and the other ones have other requirements. But I think that's such a cool bit of lore and flavor, to where you can blow this horn and like stop fighting, because it takes a whole action to do this. You have to stop your fighting and be like, I need help from Asgard or whatever. Blow this horn, and all these Viking warriors show up, and if you're like puny and unworthy of them, they kill you. Like, it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. It's like in the Lord of the Rings when Aragorn comes off the boat and he has all those ghosts with him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I haven't seen it a ton. I've used it a couple of times. I'm pretty sure I'm almost positive it was in your Midgard campaign. It's just a lot of fun. It's really cool.
I put one in the reboot of it. I put one in there where they blew it at my Battle of Helm's Deep, basically. And because the city's starting to get overwhelmed that these that it called down a Valkyrie to help
Oh,
them.
nice. That's cool.
But
And that's
it took the life of someone who used it.
That's another cool thing too. Like you can, I mean, a lot of these magic items you can reskin in different ways, but this one's a really easy one to reskin. Just change what gets called and whatnot. You want this to be absurdly powerful? Turn them into devas, but like put a massive requirement on it or something like that. Like that could be a lot of fun at like 20th level or something, right? Yeah. All right, number 1. Here it is.
Oh yeah, this is an OG one for me, and this one actually has history with me. It was the first thing when I DM'd my first game that I actually made a quest for, and I also gave it to John once. It's the Holy Avenger, and it's mainly just for the reason of like it's nostalgic for me. It's not only that it's powerful, because let's be honest, it is.
It's powerful,
but for me, it's more nostalgia than anything, because like a paladin. If you're playing a holy like warrior, this is a weapon that you most certainly want to at least quest for at least once.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because especially depending on where your campaign's going, if you're going to be fighting a lot of undead, you're going to be fighting a lot of fiends. It also is a support item because it helps give saves to your party, like spell saves and everything like that. You pull it out, and like if the party's anywhere within 10 feet of you, you're going to get extra protection from it.
Yep.
So it's a +3 weapon. So again, this goes under my rule of you're not gonna find this in a city. This is we're going to an ancient temple that's been overrun by the forces of evil. This temple was once good, but's been corrupted. The only thing that's been holding the evil at bay is a sword, literally like a master sword kind of situation where this sword is plunged into a pedestal and only someone who's worthy can pull it. But once you pull it, you got to fight whatever it's keeping out. So that kind of a quest kind of line. So that's why it's my number 1. It's mainly a lot of nostalgia, and also again, it's not the power in this case for me. It's nostalgia. This is the holy grail of items that you want to go for as a paladin player.
Oh, it makes sense, especially like back in the day. What you played paladins all the time.
I played a lawful. I played a lawful.
It makes
good
a lot
paladin,
of sense. That's
right.
what you remember. What you had a lot of fun with. Yeah, and that's a great one too. I think the Holy Avenger is a great weapon. I think it's a lot of fun. Loads of flavor there for sure.
Right.
Didn't make my list. No weapons actually made my list.
No weapons made your list.
My number 1 is an uncommon item, which I feel is far more valuable than the uncommon tag suggests. But it is an immovable rod.
You know what? I kind of had a feeling that was going to get there. I don't know why.
So cool. You give this to a creative player, and they will. As a DM, it's like, I have no idea what the heck you guys are going to do with this. Here, have fun. And your creative players will have a field day and blow your mind with what they come up with, from using it to traverse the terrain better to finding a creative use for it in combat. You know, I've seen people go inside of dragons, lock the immovable rod in there, and then leave.
Yeah.
And now the dragon can't move, or it's gonna rip the rod out from its insides. Like, there's so many cool things that you can do with this thing. I can't even say enough about it. Like, there's just so. You just have to watch it play out too in order to understand why it's so great. Because at first value, yeah, at face value, it's okay. It's a rod that doesn't move. So what?
Right.
But once you start to see that play out, all the way from first level through 20, it'll do something interesting and entertaining. So that's my number 1, and yeah, that's all I have to say about
it. I like it. I like it because I've been the recipient of that before. Like our parties actually, and I can be the first one to say, yeah, Jordan has made creative uses out of it, and I've seen even other DMs like, use it where a guy was falling and he clicked the rod, but like, yeah, it stopped him from falling in the air, but he like literally dislocated his shoulder, but it saved his life. Like, he took a ton of damage from but he's like able to hold on until like somebody could get him some help. So it is a clutch item, and it really did almost make the list, but I was like, I'm going big and bad.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, and that right there is the main difference between us, I feel, or one of them anyway, is the epic level, low level. And again,
Man,
I like epic level,
Destiny,
and you
guns,
will
so.
like low level. So like, it's not really one or the other.
Right.
It's just where we kind of gravitate to. So
it's where we gravitate to.
That is it though. That's our lists. We are right about at time. So I know there's a couple of questions in chat, but I think we'll just go ahead and let those roll on over to next time. That'll work. Questions don't always have to fit exactly what we're talking about that week, so we'll let those roll on over. And we'll see you then. Before we sign off, though, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Anyone watching live, or if you're watching on YouTube later, or through the podcasts, again, if you have not yet, go ahead and join the Discord. There will be a link somewhere. That way you can stay in touch, leave questions for the future, all that fun stuff. But as far as what else we got going on, we'll be back here at twitch.tv/flycaptain tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern for another episode of the All Ebrian Rejects. They are, well, they're in the middle of this werewolf quest, and they just met a face that is familiar to our little community. They just met Nameless, my favorite PC that I ever made. So the session will probably talk with 3.5 hours of nonstop talking by Nameless. But,
yeah, Nameless is fun.
But that should be a lot of fun. We'll kind of see how that goes. And then Steve, what do you got going on?
I'm probably going to play some Destiny here after a while. Just probably take a quick break. Probably we are going to be starting up our Tuesday game again real soon. We may be missing a couple players because I think we decided we can run this coming Tuesday because you guys got your Thursday game. Tracy will be on vacation, and Matt, I do believe, will be busy, but we'll have most of everybody else. So you guys can hit me up. Woo! I know it's been a while, hasn't it? I was just saying, I was like, man, can I still do this? And then, yeah, I can. So, hit me up. We'll be back Tuesday at 8:00. We'll be finishing off we'll do a recap. Jordan sent me some very detailed notes. Thank you, Jordan. And we'll be finishing off an adventure and then going on another adventure that I have planned within that same little mini arc there as the players get to explore. So that will be tons of fun. Yeah, man. I think we're ready to get her fired back up again. So add some extra content.
So that's what's going on over here. And then, like Steve said, he's probably going to be streaming some Destiny later on tonight at twitch.tv/Stevo the DMO. And then he'll probably stream some more Destiny and D&D prep and all sorts of other nonsense over there as well. From time to time, you can join his Discord to see when he goes live as well. So, thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us. Again, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Join the Discord, and we will see you tomorrow or next week or something like that. Peace out.
Laters.